Like I said, I listen to these top coaches speak week in and week out. And without a fail, they'll say, oh my gosh, I'll see one of my first posts come up on the feed and they're like, I can't believe I wrote that. They all started in those 2 sentences, but then they found their voice, they found their story, they found their audience, and then they just kept going.
You are tuned in to the Central Texas Business Podcast. We are coming at you from the Dam Studio at Lake Belton Barbershop in Belton, Texas. We are here to share the stories of local, regional, and national business owners on their journey of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are excited to have you join us for today's episode. Let us dive into the show and unlock greatness. Liz, I just wanted to start and let you know I'm proud of you. An awesome opportunity to taking the courage to step out and do this podcasting thing, especially because I'm brand new at this. And you are like, okay, Nolan, let's do this thing.
I like taking chances. What's up?
Yeah, that's awesome. And also just from knowing you, seeing the drive and commitment and determination you show for your family, like it's not matched by many people. Aww. And like the impact that your family's made on my life. So it's just really awesome that you're to be the first one. Yeah. It's kind of this circle of life or circle of whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, here we are, you're going into your next step and I'm taking kind of a different step too.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
It's really cool.
We're both taking a different little journey. So it's exciting times for sure.
Yeah. So to start off, let's tell us a little bit about yourself. You're married, your kids, what you do and that kind of stuff.
So my name's Liz and I've been married for 13 years. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, thanks. My son's shaking his head, so that's awesome. I have 2 kiddos. I have a son. His name's Cole. He's 10. And I have a daughter, 8 years old. Her name's Kayla. And, my family keeps me going, that's for sure.
Yeah, family's pretty big. And I'm sure that was a big drive or determining factor on you changing from working in education to now having the opportunity to work for yourself if you want to, kind of thing. So tell us about that. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's so hard because like education totally changed my life. Like it gave me purpose in a time where I needed purpose and gave me a career path, and that was amazing. And I thrived in that. But deep down, I not very secretly always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So being in education kind of gave me the best of both worlds. Weekends off, holidays off, summers off, and I got to play with my kids all the time. And then I stepped into a longer contracted role as a counselor. And my kids were just losing, I think, about 5 weeks of their summer that I had to put them in outside of school childcare so that I can be on contract. 2 weeks, no, it was 3 weeks before their school started, and it was 2 weeks after school ended. So as much as I loved my job, I was missing out on all that playtime that I've had with them before. So we've just, kind of buckled down financially, met some goals, and kind of also found a side hustle that I was able to step away from that full time and be able to stay at home with them. So that's been like, this is my first year to stay at home with my kids, which is crazy to say because they're 10 and 8, but it's been super, super exciting and super fun. And I think they're enjoying mama picking them up from school every day. So
you said it a little bit, you guys did some financial goals, and I know a lot of people might be familiar with Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey helped both you and I with our financial goals. And so the opportunity that provided for you to be able to have just a side hustle now that has given you the opportunity to pick up the kiddos from school and go to their events without missing. I mean, teachers, education, it's great.
Yes.
You've got a whole bunch of people out there talking about how we have our summers off, but down to the nitty gritty, it's kind of boxed in.
Yes.
Whenever you're on, you have to be on.
Yeah.
And there's kind of no way around it. So with the side hustle now kind of ratcheting up a little bit. And then that side hustle is something where you're able to give some time a lot more time to your family than at school.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So yeah, speaking of that side hustle, I, got into being a Beachbody coach, and it was total accident, Nolan. So my sister-in-law calls me, and she knows like I train for half marathons, and I, always try to be healthy and do the best that I can. But I don't even consider myself a runner, but I was just a runner. And so she calls me up one day and tells me like she's starting this, and send me some before and after photos of somebody that was going through the first program that I truly tackle. And she was like, you should do this with me. And I was like, okay, sure. And then she told me like that I should sign up as a coach because I would get a discount and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this 80-day program, so it's 3 months, right? So I'm going to do this 80-day program. I'm going all in.
Yeah, because I'm not to cut you off, but that's what you do. Liz Cooley does not go halfway on anything.
I mean, if I go halfway on something, it's because I've done it 500 times and I have nothing to prove to myself.
Right.
But yeah, I know. So I went all in, and I was like, okay, I'll sign up as a coach. I'm doing the shakes. I'm doing the program for the 3 months. I'm all in, right? And then I kid you not, I didn't like the program. I signed up in November, and the program wasn't launching till the new year.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I started off with like 21-day fix. And before my 80-day obsession program started, I had already fallen in love with the process. I was like, where has this been all my life? And so I was like, people need to know about this. Like, mommies that are working full time need to know about these at-home workouts. People that are just working their tails off or don't have childcare, they can get up before their kiddos wake up and get these workouts in. So I was like, I'm spreading the word. I need to let people know about these amazing personal trainers that are in your living room for like a fraction of the cost. So yeah, that's when I was, decided to go in with the business. And at first I was working my full-time job, but working the business as much as I could. And then once I decided to step away from my full-time job, this is just what I do now. It's been great. A lot of fun.
That's awesome. So it's kind of like the genesis was, and I was researching a little bit about Beachbody, and that's kind of how a lot of people get into coaching is, well, hey, I can get the discount on all the shakes
all
and
products,
whatever products. I mean, you definitely know the products better than I do, but it's like, all right, well, I might as well sign up for coaching because, hey, I can get the discount.
It's a good discount.
The genesis of Liz Cooley being the Beachbody coach was I'm going for the discount.
Yeah.
So it's, kind of not, particular to anybody who's getting into Beachbody, but you're just rocking it on that part of it. So, anything extra on that, we'll cut that out. It's fine. But, so for you with the coaching stuff, you decided to work for yourself, and that was getting into Beachbody. What did it look like to be supported and guided on your journey to coach others? Because I know Beachbody is not just about physical strength and conditioning. There's a whole layer of aspects. I see on your social media posts and encouraging notes and things like that. I mean, that's a coach. So expand on that.
Yeah. So it is a lot of me supporting my challengers with meal prep ideas or like how can we fit it into your schedule? Like, let's look at your schedule. Where can we make a 30-minute block? It's a lot of listening to the client, but it's not just a physical transformation. My passion, my why, aside from my family and my children, has really turned into finding women who are just hungry for that self-confidence,
Yeah.
I know that so many women dread summer. I don't want them to dread summers. I want them to put on a bathing suit, and I want them to go swimming with their kids, and I want them to do all of the things. And it's just, becoming a mom or getting older as a woman has a lot of challenges and a lot of self-reflection. So I don't want moms to lose themselves in that mom title. And, we're constantly giving for our children, doing all the things for our kids, doing all of the things for our husbands. And we put ourselves in the back burner a lot. I want women to know, like, it's not selfish. The better health that you are in, the better you will serve everybody around you.
And that'll help the health of your family too.
Yes.
Ultimately. And it, with those that don't have families, I mean, it helps that community around you, because we're all part of any different kind of communities.
Yes.
And, in today's culture, women are getting the calling that they truly have been deserving over years. And it's really cool that there's platforms now where strong women like yourself can go out there and be an example, because you're living it. You're dealing with all the things that other women are. And now you're just a face to, like, hey, look at her. She can do it. She's got 2 kids. She's got a husband that's rocking it, and she's able to support him in many different ways other than just being at home, staying and cooking. There's raising the kids, and you're doing your side business. Like, there's a lot out there that the world didn't used to see. And now here we are with Liz Cooley just doing those things. Yeah,
it's definitely been interesting. I will say, like, even pre-kids, like, I really reflecting, I was like, man, I wish this type of business had been around when I was in college, because you really do get to work in the pockets, like the 5-hour, 3-hour pockets in the day that work for you, to where when I was in college, like, that would have looked way different for me, because I was working till like 4:00 in the morning at, restaurants and things like that to try to make ends meet. So, like, I look back at and I also feel like, yes, right now my focus could be mommy, because that's my stage of life, but I was not a healthy college student either. Like, I wish I would have had this idea of, I wish I would have had the nutritional knowledge that I have now back then. I think it would have changed a lot also. Yeah.
And so you say nutritional value. Isn't that like your degree? Isn't no? Oh my goodness.
No.
What is Liz Cooley's degree? Education?
Oh, okay.
Where are we at here?
Okay. So I do have a bachelor's in mathematics.
What?
Oh yeah. With my teacher certification, a master's in school counseling, and no, I don't need, that's not fitness or nutrition it's not fitness, at all.
Fitness.
As far as education, you don't need any like formal education. You just got to be hungry to learn.
Yep.
And it's interesting that, like, my big program was 80-day obsession because of the word obsessed. I like truly became obsessed with, I wanted to learn everything that particular trainer had to give me. So I was in her coach's test group, and she was going live. I was listening to everything that she had to say. She then later came out with a nutritional program. I bought that. I've watched all the videos more than once, so it's just like, I'm hungry to learn
it and share it with others. And that's the thing for a whole bunch of new business owners or business people out there. They're learning on the go. They're hungry to learn. They're, you have this interest, and it's not as the old days where we didn't have Google in our pockets. We didn't have the internet to guide us on the direction of where we wanted to go, or not guide us. If we didn't know somebody who knew what they were doing, then we were kind of flying by the seat of our britches. Now, we may be doing that now, and I'm sure that, and we'll talk about it here in a second, but that probably produces some anxiety to some extent or another. But learning on the go and having the access to knowledge bases that we didn't have before it's phenomenal for our 21st century human being. So going on to the potential anxieties that might be happening with trying to start a business. You've now in your family, they're 8 and 10 years old kids. And I mean, being super mom on top of all of that, what's going on there? How's that looking?
Well, I'm not super mom, but I certainly give them my best. Sometimes I falter, but they're pretty forgiving. So that's a blessing right there. But you know what? When it comes to like having anxiety, you're an athlete. And I'm sure that your coach told you, like, are you nervous? And they said, good, right?
Right.
I feel like having that anxiety is a good thing. That means you care. That means you want to succeed. And so make sure that whenever that anxiety comes in, that it doesn't tap into like that fear, like what if I fail? And that's one of the things. Like, so Beachbody also has like a national wake up call every Monday, and I'm in that every Monday listening to top coaches, and a lot of the times I'm pretty sure that I'm an Enneagram 6. So that's my fear. And I could see all the ways that this can go wrong, right? So it could be really easy for me to be like, anxiety, I'm going to fail. But I'm like, what if I could be one of them? What if I could be one of those top coaches?
Right.
And so instead of fear, I'm having that anxiety, like push me, which is really important. And you know what? Even if I do fail, I'm still pushing myself to be the healthiest version. Right. So I'm not going to fail completely.
Right.
Because I'm still being healthy.
Your goal right there, you just kind of laid it out, is up front. You're pushing yourself, and you're starting with you, and you're not letting the external motivation or the external, not motivation, but successes or demerits happen to cause you to fail your dream, because you're, like you said, you're doing it and you're still being healthy doing it. And so the failures are not necessarily knocking you off the top. They're just lessons to be learned.
Right.
So, kind of talking about the failure so far, I know it's kind of been basically a year. What would you consider one of your bigger failures in trying to start this business? Or, I wouldn't go back as far as education, but what would you say would be one of your biggest failures from in the past to now?
So, like in the Beachbody?
Right, in the Beachbody realm, in your business realm, because there's a time you were talking about cooking, doing things like that too. So,
sorry.
You're good.
So basically, I wish I would have gotten to where I'm at faster. And I say that because like, the person who, this is going to get into like the lineage of it. So it's kind of complicated, but my true coach wasn't really working the business. So she wasn't coaching me. So I had to go like around her a little bit to find her coach. And that's when I kind of started learning some of the nuts and bolts and logistics of it. And I was a little behind. So I wish I would have gotten to where I'm at. What's the word that I'm looking for right now? Strategically.
Yeah.
I wish I would have gotten there faster. I would have made a little bit more money along the way. But still, lesson learned. And so it's not a big deal. But whenever I sign up a coach underneath me, like I'm pushing them to hit a certain rank fairly quickly, but I can tell them why.
Right.
And why they need to stay active. And, I can tell them like the business side why, to where I just didn't know. And so at the time working a full-time job, I had read a lot of it, but I didn't get it. It wasn't until like I had that conversation with my upline coach that I was like, Okay, I get what you're saying. I see why I need to stay active. I see how some of the bonus structure works. So that's probably like my biggest regret. I wish I would have just gotten there faster. I would have made a little bit more money, but still, still not like money is like the all drive thing, but yeah.
But if you're starting a business, there is
I'd like to lose less money.
Practicality, and yes, we'd all like to lose less money, right? There's a whole bunch of ways to do that, but I don't think we could talk about that for hours.
That's a whole different
that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But so with the typical day, we're going to transition kind of over to, you're talking about coaching, and I said typical day, but maybe the idea that we were just playing on was, and maybe this was the question that you essentially answered, but I'll ask it in a different way. The $1 million question, as I've learned, is basically, what do you know now that you wish you knew then? And basically is what you answered with, but maybe hit that again.
Yeah. So I think just by knowing like all that logistic and background information, would have made me more money. And I think that I would have probably retained some more coaches, than what I did, because I'm definitely to a point now where I could have led them better. But mainly transitioned them from being a discount coach to being a working coach. Because I'm going to be honest, the ones that I did sign up, they were more in it for the discount type thing. And I wish I could have like flipped them to work the business.
Right.
So that's kind of a way that it kind of hindered me a little bit. Definitely would have started my like private Facebook group for coaches only in there, and had some trainings for them once a week. Gone live, made sure that they knew what the announcements were for the week so that they can talk about that in their stories every single day. So just a little bit more guidance on how like they should be structuring their week, or maybe I could have done that lesson plan for them.
Right.
And they could have just templated and made it their own, so that whenever they posted something, it sounded like Nolan was posting it, not something that Nolan copied from Liz.
Pasted.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it would give them the gist of it. So like I was saying, the coach that signed me up, I've been kind of like coaching her.
On how to coach
like,
you.
I don't have a lot to say. And I was like, I feel you. Like, I didn't think I did either until I just started talking. And my 3-sentence post turned it out to 4, turned out to like 10. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to write that much. And I ended up just speaking.
And I want to jump in real quick and double down on that idea that initially you're saying that you didn't know what you were doing. A 1 or 2 sentence post became the 3 or 5 sentence post. And it wasn't because you sat there and read and learned how to write.
No,
it was because
math major.
It was because you wrote. It was because you went out and did it. And that's kind of the point that I wanted to make on that, is that the skill that you needed to develop, we learn all this knowledge. We know we can watch YouTube videos. We can watch, Facebook posts. We can read all this stuff. But if we're not doing it, then it's going to get us in trouble without the actual production of it.
Yeah. Well, and what finally gave me peace about that was, like I said, I listened to these top coaches speak week in and week out. And without a fail, they'll say, oh my gosh, I'll see one of my first posts come up on the feed, and they're like, I can't believe I wrote that. They all started in those 2 sentences, but then they found their voice, they found their story, they found their audience, and then they just kept going. Yeah. And so why not you? Why not me?
Exactly. That's kind of a driving deal of our podcast is why not you?
Yes.
And why not me? Why can't we do this? And a lot of people, you mentioned fear earlier, letting fear motivate us keeps us in the dark. It keeps us back. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, there's a whole bunch of fear out there, but the first step is just forward and then the next one.
Well, let me tell you this. What do you naturally do when somebody says you can't do that?
Yeah, I know for me, whenever somebody says I can't do that because I'm a people pleaser, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they have some value in what they're saying. Even though they don't know me, I intrinsically just personalize that as, man, well, maybe they know what they're talking about.
Well, me coming from a pretty rebellious person, I would say, watch me. And so if you're one of those people, that's what fear is telling you.
Right.
Fear is saying, you can't do this. So turn around and look at it in the eye and say, watch me. Watch me do it.
Yep. And that right there is why you need a coach, ladies and gentlemen. Coach, no, I'm not Coach Cooley, but that it's putting people in your life. And whether you're a business owner, trying to develop a business, wanting to start a family, wanting to teach kids at an education school, or in life, finding these people that are your chief encouragers, your CEOs, your chief encouraging officers. Mm-hmm. And it's important to have those as a business owner. And it's not somebody that's just going to tell you you're doing everything right, because that's not helpful at all. But somebody that's going to be in your corner and telling you the truth of who you are.
But breathing life into you at the same time.
100%. And that lifeblood, and it helps motivate and drive you forward. Again, that's why you need a coach, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
A coach in life coaching, whatever, people, there's a bad rep for it, but there's a reason that people are doing it and successful at it, because they're helping others.
Well, I think they've changed the word mentor.
Yeah, that's probably
to coaching, which is not a bad thing, but you got to find people that are in line with your views and your morals, and that have been there. Look for the people that's where you're trying to get.
Right.
But also somebody that is going to give you a little bit of tough love, because you're going to need that from time to time. And it's not easy to hear. Tough love is hard, but you got to be able to have some people in your corner that will for sure give you that tough love, but then encourage you to get to where you said you wanted to go.
Yeah. To get from where you are to where you want to be.
Yes.
You said it. It's to where you said you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's, accountability. It's all these things that we know is important as humans. We know that accountability is important. We know that encouragement and hearing the right things is important. But whenever we get inside of our own heads, I'm trying to start a business or trying to start a family, we get inside our head and we just get paralyzed sometimes by that. And not being able to say, watch this at all times. Yeah. And kind of on that idea of mentorship or coaching, there's an important level of somebody's pouring into you and you're going to pour into somebody else. You read books, you listen to podcasts, you do these things, but being poured into so that then, not that you can take all the knowledge for yourself, but then you can pour it into others.
Absolutely.
So moving on from that kind of back into the coaching deal and your typical day as a coach. I know, this morning, you were telling me you were getting up at 3:00 this morning. I'm sure.
This morning was not the norm.
The norm, right.
But yeah, it looked a little bit different when I had a full-time job. So whenever that was happening, I was actually getting up really early and getting my workout done before the kids even woke up type thing. It was like, I would get up at 4:30 to kind of start my whole cycle. But now that I am at home, I get my husband out the door, I get the kids to school, and then I get home and I start my pre-workout meal, and I make sure to show ideas on my Instagram stories of what meals I'm having. And then I will have my pre-workout, and then I have my quiet time while my pre-workout is kicking in. And then I definitely get my workout in and just kind of post about my workout in my stories, my Instagram stories. And then I kind of go about my day. I have my shake. I let everybody know that I'm having my shake, my superfood. That's really important that they see that I'm doing my workout every day and I'm having my superfood every day. Like those are our bread and butter. For so many reasons, that would be a totally different podcast also. But those are our bread and butter. And then, so once I have that post, then I have my, like kind of whoever has commented, liked it, like then I go and I start inviting those people to join our group, our community group. Ours are ran on a Facebook private page. And so I check into there too. And we have like 64 women in our group right now that are active every day. And so then I also have to go in there and encourage those women to like keep going, or maybe one of them is having a bad day and they're like, somebody hold me accountable to get my workout in. So then I'm like, gotcha. In like 2 hours, I'm going to check on you and make sure that you got your workout in. It's been really interesting. This group of women that I've never met in my entire life. Except for Facebook.
Oh my gosh.
And we are praying for each other. We are encouraging each other. And not once has any of those ladies dropped a negative comment about anybody else. It is just super uplifting. The most positive group of women. And if anybody's beating on anybody, they're beating on themselves. And that's where we're coming in and kind of cheering them on, like, you can get through this, you know? Yeah. So it's been a real positive experience.
That's really great to hear too, because there's so many people out there with the perception of social media as it's something that gives the negative stuff a platform.
Yes.
But one thing that I've just kind of run across constantly lately is that, yeah, it does give that platform, but who does it give a platform to as well? It gives a platform to those who did not have a platform before, like yourself and like this group of women who they did not have somebody or could not find somebody locally or in their family circle that could be what this group of people is to them. And without the internet, those people might have gone, we don't know. We don't know where that happens. And so it's amazing that every coin has two sides to it. And so you've got the darkness and you've got the light, but what you're doing is shining the light into social media, which is awesome.
Yeah. So it's been really neat. And you know, the sad thing, it's a private group. I mean, we do have women that are sharing their before and afters. So it's closed, it's private. But not everybody gets to see that positivity. Right. So I really am glad that I'm getting to talk about it right now because it's a really good group of ladies.
That's awesome. And like you said, there's 64 women in this group.
I may be wrong, but it's at least 60 plus.
Right.
But yeah.
So 60 plus. And I'm sure from the Genesis, what November of 2018, 2017. Okay. So from the genesis of that of 0, you've got 64 people in this group that, I mean, the growth of that is maybe overwhelming, maybe not. I mean, you can manage it somehow, I'm sure.
That's a good point. So like basically though, here's another thing. I have teamed up with some other coaches and we're running these groups together. So that's another thing. Like, don't ever be afraid of like, well, I can't be a coach. I cannot lead women. And I'm like, you don't have to do it alone. You don't. You just need to invite people to join this awesome community. And we're going to lead together. And you're going to learn how to do it. And you will get to a point where you're confident enough to run it by yourself, but you're not going to want to. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want these leaders to lead with you. And that's another thing that's been amazing. A lot of times there's like a little bit of a pecking order of, no, this is my group and I run it. But all of these women are busy moms also with little ones. One of them's pregnant right now and has a kindergartner. And she's showing up every day. Like, how encouraging is that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No,
she's my rock star right now.
There you go.
But But everybody's really in it. Like, how can I help? I know you're going to be on vacation. What do you want me to do while you're gone? So it's really, cohesive. It's really like, we just try to help each other out. So don't ever think like I can't do this on my own, because you don't have to do it on your own.
I would say that's a huge point. You don't have to do it on your own. Then for me personally, that strikes just all kinds of violin strings, because a lot of people, I would venture to say, feel like they have to do everything on their own. Even people who are married or in great relationships with people, they're still, as a entrepreneur or a business grower, they say it's a lonely world.
Right.
And so hearing that, you expect it to be lonely, but it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And that, I mean, again, we listen to podcasts, we watch YouTube videos, we do all these things so that we're not alone.
Right.
But we have the group, and it's the business that you've created. I mean, you could have, like you said, created this is my group, get out. But that's really awesome and speaks to your business and how you're running that Beachbody program of inviting those to join with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So as far as coaching goes, I haven't been to the gym probably in about 3 years. What kind of questions are people asking right now? Because I know in the sports world, analytics is taking a whole bunch of twists and turns, and I don't know how much that type of development is getting into the exercise world on your scale, if at all. So what are typically the most asked questions that you get from your future clients or clientele?
So I do just get a lot of like skepticism, I think, because they really don't think that they could get a true calorie burn or like a real workout from home, And at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, just come over for 30 minutes and then see if you can breathe your way out my door. Because I was an athlete all through high school. And so for me to say like, these people are going to kick your tail is truth. But even with that, like I see this industry already in the short time that I've been with them evolving. And I mean, they're really raising the bar, and it's been really interesting to watch the different movements. They focus on technique. I really do feel like I have a personal trainer with me every time I hit play. And not only that, they are encouraging me too every single time. And when it gets hard, they start yelling too. So, and for me, like you said earlier, being on the whole Dave Ramsey journey, this type of personal trainer was also in my budget.
Right.
So that for me was real big.
Yeah, that is huge. For anybody who's wanting to get into the working out stuff and looking into Beachbody with that, budgeting is huge. And we all know that there's a big cost in spending and going to a gym, and there's a big cost in, time. You drive to the gym, you got to drive back from the gym. But the opportunity that Beachbody provides to let you work out in your home or in your garage or out in the shack in the backyard, the gym is your world, or your world is the gym. So that's a great opportunity.
Well, and here's another thing. Sometimes or people are like, well, I just really need that gym environment. And I'm like, okay. I tend to ask them, well, what do you do when you go to the gym? And sometimes they like fumble through their workout. They get intimidated by the machine, or they get intimidated by the guy who like is really buff and really knows what they're doing. And I'm like, take my personal trainers with you. I can't tell you how many times I've traveled and I'll go to the hotel gym and I'll use their awesome equipment, but I have my personal trainer on my phone.
Right.
And I'm doing the workout that was on schedule for me to do. So I'm like, okay, if you love going to the gym, but you're looking at all of this equipment and you don't know what to do with it, and you cannot afford a personal trainer, then take them with you. Take your phone with you and do all of those moves at the gym. And then I think they're going to either build the confidence to be like, okay, forget it. I can just do this at home and cut the travel time. Or even for the person who is like really intimidated by the gym, by CrossFit, by whatever it may be, because they've been out of, working out routine for so long, they could start at home and build their way up to joining CrossFit again or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what their journey is.
Whatever their journey ends up being.
Yeah.
And you're, as their coach, you get the opportunity to just join them on that journey and you learn their stories and you know what their goals are and you help create those goals, I'm sure, and what that looks like for them. And so maybe initially they're wanting to get to the gym, but once they realize that they don't have to have the gym, well, why do I not just keep working out at home?
Right. And for me, being like, my husband does go to the gym. If he misses the gym for whatever reason, he'll work out with me. And he hates leg day.
Everyone hates leg day.
No, I love leg day.
Okay.
It's really hard for me to skip leg day.
See, I would say that's how my wife is. She loves leg day, hates arm day, and we're definitely different on that.
So if he knows it's leg day, he's like, oh, I'm good. But other than that, he'll join me. But it's really nice to be able to, like I said, as a mom, I still do all of the things with the kids. So for me personally, being able to take that extra time to go to the gym and come back
home,
that's precious time that, I could have been sleeping, or I could have been making lunches, or I could have been doing a load of laundry, or cleaning their bathrooms, or whatever the case. Moms know the list is like never ending.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't even imagine. Dishes, laundry, cooking,
meal prepping.
You name it. Moms are doing it. And they're doing a great job. If they know what Liz Cooley's doing and they're trying to mimic it, they're doing a great job. All right. So for the audience, if I was one of your potential clients, what would that look like? What would be some questions you would ask me? I know I'm a guy, and I'm sure you work with some guy. I mean, your husband, you're like, hey man, he's going to the gym. But what does that look like if I was one of your potential clients? Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I love. I like all of the new workouts programs that have launched since I've joined Beachbody. I've literally tried I've done every single one. So for example, I signed up a lady, and, she was asking me all these questions, and I was figuring out what her goals are. How much time do you have to work out? What is your fitness level? And that's when I pair up a good start program for my client or my challenger. Okay. But then I also talk nutrition. We have 2 nutrition programs right now. They're polar opposite. Both of them are amazing, but I need to know your personality to see which one would fit your personality. And if there's a budget issue, I would much rather you purchase a nutrition program first and then the workouts, because nutrition is key.
I was going to ask, what's your take? Is there a percentage floating around in your head that says, it's 50% nutrition, 50% workout, 90% nutrition, 99%? What is that number? Because here I am trying to eat more salad. What does that look like for somebody like me?
You cannot outwork a bad diet. I don't care if you spend 2 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
You cannot outwork a bad diet. So I would start that off first. And I think that people if it's somebody who's just like not doing nutrition or exercise, I think once you start your nutrition first, you're putting healthy, nutritionally dense food into your body, then you're going to start finding that energy that you've been lacking, and you're going to want to add the workouts. Okay. But some people have only 20 minutes to work out. I have a program for you. Some people only have 30 minutes to work out. I have a program for you. Some people got like 45 minutes to an hour and they want to lift heavy. I have a program for you. So for like this lady that I had signed up, she was like, well, my husband's also wanting to do some workout. Ask a couple questions about him, paired him up with a male trainer 4 days a week, 45 minutes, and he loved it. He also loved that program, and it was a completely different program than what his wife was doing. So they were both, catered, same account because it's a household,
Right.
to their individual needs.
Right.
And now she's like challenging herself with an even harder program right now and crushing it. So that's really exciting.
That is really cool. I mean, we've been talking, mostly about how you're teaching and coaching women, but I want to expand on, or at least in my head, work out that it's not, you are helping this man, and you have connections. And so anybody who's looking for, coaching advice in the Central Texas area, the Central Texas Business Podcast, Liz Cooley, if you looked her up on Instagram, I'm sure, in here in a little bit, we'll talk about where we can contact her. She knows not just the Beachbody people, but she's been around the block. She's from the area.
Yeah.
She knows people who are going to help, male or female. And if I'm going to speak for myself here, just from an observation that I have of you, Liz, but you probably are somebody who, if they don't want to work out with Liz, you're great with that.
Yeah.
Because you will help them find what's going to help them be successful.
Man, ultimately, first of all, I would love to sign up a couple of male coaches so that if I had more male clients, I'd want to push them. I want to refer them to them so that they could speak to, I want to gain weight. And no ladies out there want to gain some weight, right? So I'd be like, these people will be your people to gain weight. I mean, I know what nutritional bracket you should be eating at if you're wanting to maintain or gain type thing. I know that. But if you're looking for somebody that's in the nitty gritty, I want to push you towards my male coach. So I would love to find a guy coach to sign up under me, and I would push all my clients towards him. However, my goal, I had somebody leave they are doing Camp Gladiator, one of those. And I'm like, I don't care. As long as you are still being healthy, you're working out, you're putting good food, good nutrition into your body, you're fueling your body correctly, I don't care. I really it's a whole nother soapbox probably, but just the obesity epidemic that's going on in the United States alone, people are going to the gym. I'm like, sweet. Yep. You're running, sweet. Are you being active?
That's right. I mean, and that's, we like you said, that's a whole nother soapbox that we could get on, but just your passion about that is, it's apparent in your teaching and your coaching styles, and that ultimately who you are does not depend on how many clients you're helping. Who you are is who you are, and you're going to encourage people to find what they're pursuing on their health goals, and you're going to help them get there, whether that's with you or somebody else. And that speaks a lot to, business owners in general. Hey, Liz is growing this thing, and she may have lost a couple clients herself because they might have found a different way to do their health goals, but she's encouraged that.
Well, and that's the other thing. I don't want people to think maybe the business is saturated, because I'm going to tell you right now, I can't believe it took me so long to find this business or find about all these programs and all this. It took me too long. Okay. And the other thing is, my story and my voice is only going to reach a certain audience.
Right.
Okay. Nolan, if I were to sign you up, you would be reaching your story, your voice, your age, your time in life right now is going to be reaching a totally different audience than I would be reaching. So it's definitely worth a shot, and it's definitely worth some time to invest in your peers and whoever's following you to be the best version, healthy version, physically, mentally, that they can be.
Yeah, man. And I just want to say sitting in here in the studio and just feeling that passion, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go run through this wall real quick. If Liz is looking for, or she is looking for a male to like help her coach, I'm ready to go run through this wall and help this lady coach. Like, let's do this, Liz. Like that type of thing. My blood is pumping, and this is hopefully I'm pretty sure it's going to be able to translate through the airwaves here, but just that whenever you run into people like Liz Cooley, and we all know those type of people, they're just going to push you to just there's that thing about them. It's a light inside of them that they shine as like, man, I want to be better. Not because I feel guilty about being who I am today, but it's like, man, I just want to be better because they're better. And that's awesome.
Best competition is yourself.
That's 100%. So kind of wrapping it up. I mean, here we are. We got, one last question. We've been talking about who Liz Cooley is, and I'm sure by now there might be at least one person out there interested in reaching out or learning more about what Beachbody is about. And if they wanted to do that, how are they going to be able to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on Instagram at Coach Liz. It's really easy. And you can message me. You can start following me there and message me. It's open. So it's not like it's that hard. So at Coach Liz, and that's it.
Yeah. So at Coach Liz, that contact will be in the show notes in the podcast whenever we get it produced here. Oh, and ultimately, just kind of bringing it full circle is the passion back at the very beginning, the passion that you share for your kids and your family and your friends, you and your business, growing that business, and hopefully here in about, 2 years, we have a checkup that says, Liz maybe she's doing the Beachbody thing, or maybe she's kind of expanding into her own realm or not.
Yeah.
The goals and dreams, and she's not afraid to take that next step. And that's someone to be able to follow, on her journey too. That's really cool. So I just want to say thank you, Liz, for being on the show and just being willing to come in and talk and be open about the business and everything. But yeah, it's Central Texas Business Podcast, and we're here in Belton. But if you're listening, we're podcasting this to everyone. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about the Beachbody thing is it's online.
It is.
Liz said it earlier. Oh my gosh, there's 64 ladies in there, and they've never met in person. Almost any of them have never met in person. Yeah. And so if you're in New York City, she's looking, there's a Beachbody coach for you. But at Coach Liz on Instagram would be a great place to start. Thank you. That's going to be it for us here at the Dam Studio at Lake Belton Barbershop. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for listening to the show. If you have liked the show, please subscribe and leave a review in iTunes or in any other platforms out there. Make sure to follow and interact with us on the social networks. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at CenTeX Business Podcast, and on Twitter at CenTeX Business Pod. You can also connect with the host, Nolan Hoskins, through LinkedIn. We appreciate you guys taking the time to connect with us, to leave a review, and all the things that you are doing to interact with us through this podcast, and we hope that you have a wonderful day. Until next time, keep unlocking greatness.